Good Thursday. Grizz, win. How many of you saw it? We're going to talk to Pete Pranica about it, and I've prepped myself as best I can by reading all the stories and going to the box score. I have Xfinity. And if you've got Xfinity, the new FanDuel network, which used to be Bally's, the FanDuel network is not fan-friendly. And it's really not FanDuel. So I don't mean to point the finger at FanDuel. I don't mean to point the finger at Pete Pranica and the broadcast crew because they have nothing to do with this. This is all an Xfinity problem. Just so you know, this is Xfinity. Now, I'm told Eli said he went to the FanDuel app. I said, I'm not paying $12. I'm already paying $8 a month for the Xfinity Sports package. He goes, no. If you go to FanDuel app and you say Xfinity is your provider, they provide you the app. So I guess I have to do that now because I can't count on this. I heard last night from some Cardinals fans. You are a major Cardinal fan, but you're not an Xfinity guy, right?
No, I'm a DirecTV guy.
Okay. But I've heard, so those platforms on Xfinity, the old Bally's, now FanDuel, are on 830 and 831, so you get them in high def. And I don't know anybody that wouldn't watch them in high def in this day and age, right? Last night, 830 worked perfectly in the beginning. 831, even in the pregame show, would be page tearing, then too black, no audio, then come back for 10 seconds and work perfect, and then the cycle would repeat. Then at one point, they actually switched away, 831 did, from the Grizzlies-Utah game, and they put on the Atlanta Hawks-Brooklyn Nets game, which, by the way, came in perfectly. Then they went back to the Memphis game. You got about, maybe 5 minutes of the third quarter. And then both of the FanDuel stations, 830, 831 on Xfinity, gone. Nothing. You'd go to black and they go, we got a video problem. We're trying to fix it. We'll be back momentarily, and momentarily never happens. So this is an Xfinity problem. I'll ask Pete about it. I doubt that he knows anything about it. He's in Utah or Houston. And again, if you got the app, if you have DirecTV, those would be the only other ways you could get it, right?
Yes, I believe so. But yeah, I told you.
I even went to NBA TV.
Oh yeah.
Just to see if, and they were doing what do they have that it's like a red zone thing? They go back and forth. They had a little.
Yeah, I don't know what that's
At least they posted the score.
Yeah.
And then I'm on my score app on my phone, so I'm kind of following it, and I see they win. And let's face it, Aldama was kind of the hero. Big offensive rebound at the end. Morant was terrific. A little worried about Edey, Brandon Clark, and Marcus Smart. We'll talk about all those guys with Pete coming up here in about 4 or 5 minutes. But that was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, here's opening night, man. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm all primed. Had my glass of wine. Sitting down in front of my TV on my wonderful couch that I've had for 20 years.
Ready to go.
I'm ready, baby. I'm ready. And Xfinity let me down. It's not the first time Xfinity has let me down. Come on, Comcast, get your act together. It's ridiculous. It truly is. Grizz do win. That's a good thing. We talk with Pete. We've got Ron Higgins on the SEC. How many big games last week and this week? Important. How many teams in the SEC going to get in? I think you can make an argument that maybe only 3 from the SEC and the Big Ten get in. One of those is going to get 4. As I do the math on this, as I think the ACC and the Big 12 are each going to get 2. Look at their records. There's really a good chance that they're going to get 2 each. So if you do the math, 3 and 3 is 6, 2 and 2, 4, that's 10. The group of 5 gets 1, that's 11. There's 1 open spot. So one of the bigger conferences, the SEC or the Big Ten, to me, will get 4. This talk about 5 or both leagues getting 4, that's not going to happen. It is definitely, I don't think, going to happen. We'll talk with Ron Higgins about all of that. We end our week with the Hall of Famer. Jarvis Greer will join us at 10:45. Tiger football, so confusing. The line opened at 18. It went to 18.5. It's back to 18 today.
How about that?
It's very confusing, this Charlotte team, because they have three quarterbacks who pretty much had even playing time. The depth chart only says two, so the third guy is
Who I
not
think
even
is
on there.
still a walk-on, maybe?
I don't think he's hurt, though.
No, he's not. He's kind of the emergency guy.
It's Trixler is his name.
Trexler Ivy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watch a lot of Charlotte football, Dave. Unfortunately.
Oh, you do?
Oh, unfortunately. Yeah, I love Biff Poggi, so I watch a ton of Charlotte
Why
football.
Why do you
Oh,
love
he's a
Biff
great.
Poggi?
His story's fantastic. Billionaire turned football coach, high school football coach. Did so much for these kids, and now he's in the college ranks. Fantastic story. So yeah, I watch a lot of football. So
you know what I think of him? Here's the guy. It's freezing rain.
Oh, it's beautiful
in Charlotte, and he comes out with the Pat McAfee look. You
That's
know,
right.
the sleeveless shirt,
It's
but he had a
beautiful.
hoodie on, and I'm going, seriously?
It's great.
I shouldn't have this opinion, but when people do that, it's like, I want you to look at me. I want you to know my story.
Well, yeah, maybe
so
that is.
He kind of turns me off in that regard, but he's an interesting story. You know, his team his record in the league is pretty decent.
Yeah.
But I he's using all these different running backs. I mean, it's really by committee.
Sure is.
And we'll know more when we meet with the coaches today. But we'll talk with Jarvis Greer about that, Tiger Hoops, and of course the Grizzlies game as well. So we will be pretty busy. Can't wait for the World Series to start tomorrow. You know who the beneficiary is of this series being delayed until Friday, till tomorrow?
Who's that?
The Dodgers and Freddie Freeman.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I just read this story that Freddie Freeman has not gotten off like his couch in 3 days.
Wow.
All he's done is gone for treatment on the ankle, and he says it's getting better and better and better. That's a big plus if Freddie Freeman is Freddie Freeman for the Dodgers for sure. One last story, and then we'll get a hold of Pete. And I love this story. The darlings of football last year, Liberty, and a real threat to be a Group of Five contender again, go to Kennesaw State, which I believe is located outside of Atlanta in sort of a suburb like Marietta. I think that's where Kennesaw State is. Kennesaw State just joined CUSA this year. Kennesaw State has not won a football game at the FBS level in their history. They are 0-6 coming into the game. Liberty, the defending CUSA champions, the ones predicted to run through the CUSA again, are 5-0. Haven't lost a game, still talking about being a Group of Five representative, and they may have taken this game for granted, thinking this is going to be cakewalk. This team has never beaten an FBS team. They've just joined the big leagues. They're struggling all over the place. Kennesaw State absolutely controlled the game. Even though there was some hope at the end, it took an onside kick recovery to put it away. There was never any doubt in my mind that Kennesaw State was the better team last night.
Yeah.
So goodbye to Liberty and any discussion about G5 representation.
Well, and how about, so I think they had at least one, maybe two punt returns called back that they returned for touchdowns, called back. And then at the end of the game, they throw an incomplete pass. The students storm the field, the fans storm the field, and Liberty's coach is immediately looking for an official because he said, we still have 1 second left on the clock.
Right.
He was right. So they had to get everybody off the field and run one final play, and then they stormed the field again. It was fantastic.
The announcers made so I watched the end of this game because I couldn't watch the Grizz.
Well, yeah.
I watched the end of this game, and it was amazing. Those kids stormed the field. Like, if this had happened at an SEC school, there's no way you get this thing cleared enough to do the game.
Yeah.
And they had a pretty decent crowd.
Sure did.
Is Kennesaw State in Marietta, Georgia, like a suburb of Atlanta? Is that where it is?
Yeah, it's around there. Yeah, it's right around Atlanta.
I think it combines like 2 or 3 campuses. But what a story that is.
It's awesome.
Never won an FBS game and knock off the
How about
mighty
that?
Liberty. Wow. That really was kind of cool. Let's head to Utah. He's still there. Our friend, the TV voice of the Grizzlies, is Pete Pranica. I asked you this question at first. I don't think you know the answer. I'm certainly not holding you responsible because this is a Comcast problem with Xfinity and their sports package. But I couldn't watch your game last night. I'm very sad. I know you'll fill me in, but do you have any idea what happened with the Comcast platforms last night?
The game was seen perfectly well in every market but Memphis.
I know. And if you had DirecTV or the app, apparently, you had no problems viewing it either. It was just on the Comcast platform.
That is correct. The signal was great leaving Houston. The signal was great leaving our distribution center. And as I said, anybody who watched anywhere but Comcast in Memphis received the telecast with no issue. And that's all I'm going to say on that.
Yeah, well, I don't think this is the first time it's happened with the 830 and 831 channels, distribution centers on Comcast. I think it's happened in Cardinal games too. So Comcast with Xfinity needs to work on that. Hopefully tomorrow night when you're in Houston, we can all watch on that. I am going to try now and get the FanDuel app because I don't think that costs you extra money if you've already got a provider. This is what we're told. So maybe this is an alternative for those that missed it last night. Just get the FanDuel Sports app. You can watch it on that if you need to, if this does not come through, so you can watch Pete and Brevin and Rob. So how did you guys do in your opener last night?
I thought we were fine. We were it's a difficult situation in Utah because we sit way, way, way high up, and which makes the game kind of a rumor. But that's an unfortunate trend in the NBA of moving broadcast crews where you can't really see the game. We were amazed at the continued brilliance of John Morant, even as long as we've been watching him. His athletic ability is otherworldly. His ability to hang in the air, his court vision, his handles, and produced in the clutch yet again. And that to me was the thing that really stood out. Obviously, Santi Aldama was fantastic, and just wasn't settling for threes. There were times he put the ball on the deck and was able to get to the rim, and Ja found him for a lob or two. So, and I'm looking at the box score because I'm already preparing for the Houston game, and only one guy played more than 30 minutes last night, and that was Santi, who played 31 and a half.
I noticed he played more minutes than anybody.
He did, and there was one complaint on social media. Why is Taylor Jenkins substituting all the time? It's like you have no idea until you get to this altitude,
right?
Of the effect that it has on you. And I thought Taylor Jenkins did a good job. Particularly, you still don't have Jaren, you don't have Gigi, you don't have Vince, and you're trying to work with kind of a shortened deck at altitude against a team in Utah. They've got an awful lot of talent. I know everybody has them pegged to basically be tanking for the Cooper Flag sweepstakes, but
right.
it's a good basketball team. Roy Markkanen is a fantastic player. Walker Kessler is much improved, and Colin Sexton is always good, and Jordan Clarkson is a certified Grizz killer. So it's a good win. It's a really, really good win. You win on the road against a very difficult team to play in their building. It was a good win.
I concur all the way. When you win on the road, anytime it's good, especially an opening night, full house, you're going to get as much energy from the opposition home team as you're going to get all year long, except for maybe a playoff where the level goes up even another notch. So for me, I thought it was terrific. It was terrific because Aldama, who's coming off this great performance at the Olympics where everybody's going, this guy's really grown up. He came through in the clutch, but Morant, as you said, what did he say? Call number 12.
Call 12, and he always answers, yeah.
I mean, 3 of the 4 last buckets, when they counted the most, he's either scoring or assisting on. It's almost like, and all the great stars are like this. Jordan was, LeBron is. At the end of the game, when it really, really matters, when other people might go, "Ooh, I'm shying away from this. I'll let you do it." He wants it. He wants the spotlight. He wants to excel and believes he's going to win the game. And that's what John Morant has always given you and will still give you even with maybe a little rust from not playing for so long.
Yeah, I mean he was amazing, and the leadership and the emotion and the fire, it was all there last night, and it's one of those things, and we've seen it. You referenced Jordan, and going back to my days starting in the league with Isaiah Thomas, those were guys that just refused to let your team lose, and also tip of the cap to Desmond Bain after a foul-plagued first half, came back and played really outstanding basketball. So you got three starters of 20 plus, and I thought Jay Huff was big off the bench,
yeah,
and that was a nice boost as well.
Jay Huff actually is a pretty darn good player. I mean, that's what happens in the NBA. Guys you never think about come up and are really good. I'll tell you a guy that and I'm not saying Jay Huff is going to be this, but Steven Adams, when he first came up with Oklahoma City, nobody really knew, and all of a sudden here's a guy who's a really good player, like out of nowhere. It happens in this league.
Well, it happens in this league, and it's a matter of having an opportunity. And also, and I referenced this a couple of times talking about Jay Huff, is he played Summer League with Orlando. The toughest game that the Grizzlies had in the preliminary round in Las Vegas was against Orlando, and Jay Huff was the reason that Memphis almost lost that game because he was fantastic inside and outside. And so here's Jay Huff. He's bounced around the league, three different teams, G League last year, 20 games with Denver, play Summer League, and obviously impressed Memphis, and now he's got an opportunity. And with Jaren out, he was a big that the Grizzlies really needed last night.
Okay, so Jay Huff, Morant, and Aldama, those are the major positives, and of course you win the game. Talk about maybe some concerns. One game really is way too small a sample size to make a judgment, but if I were looking to nitpick, and I'm analyzing this game, three guys worry me that are important to this team. One, Edey, plagued with foul trouble, so you really didn't see. Marcus Smart, who didn't look to be like in the best of shape, maybe. And then Brandon Clark, who we kind of forget because he played at the end of last year a little bit, is coming off of that Achilles injury. He had a tough night, too. Your thoughts about each of those three players?
Well, I think Edey is still adjusting to the speed of the NBA game, and let's not forget he got the best of Walker Kessler at Summer League, and I think Walker remembered that and wanted to show out. And Zach, one of the things too, he's 1 of 5 from the free throw line. He's a much better free throw shooter than that, and it's he's adjusting to life in the NBA, and it's a lot different than it is playing in the Big Ten. So. We've seen him play fantastically well against NBA competition in preseason against Indiana and Miles Turner and James Wiseman, and he played very well. And last night certainly was not his night. Marcus didn't shoot it real well, made a couple of really good plays. And as far as Brandon Clark is concerned, Brevin and I keep saying it, you want to get him to that dotted line and that little pull-up floater. That's his shot. Made 2 threes attempted by BC. That's maybe 1 or 2 too many. I mean, in my view. So, but then the other thing too is, I had referenced the revolving door that Taylor Jenkins had last night when it came to substitutions because you had to go short shifts because of the altitude and you're trying to play fast, and so there might have been a little bit of lack of continuity that you really couldn't get into a flow because by the time you played a few minutes, you'd be pretty winded, regardless of how good a condition you are in, because playing at this altitude, it's not as ballyhooed as Denver, but it definitely is a factor.
Yeah, it rivals elevation to that, and I've skied at both, and let me tell you, I know it actually can take away everything you've got, fatigue, and it takes 2 weeks really to get allocated to it. So there's no way you can, if it's a short trip, ever get used to that altitude. So that is an advantage those other teams definitely have on you. But you go to Houston where it's a lot shorter. We talk about that in just a second. This new offensive system, which is predicated on transition and speed and threes. How long do you think it takes to really catch on to what you're trying to do?
I'm trying to remember which coach said this, but 20 games is kind of where you figure out where you are. I know that the Grizzlies, the the players individually understood what the system was and tried to work with it, in some of their open gym time. But it is going to take a bit of time. But it's a fun way to play because you're always moving. It's not two guys in a pick and roll action and the other three guys are standing. It really is a swing. You pass, you move, and you want to get a couple passes around the perimeter, get a piece of the paint. That's going to be vitally important. I think that is one of the things that, kind of bothered me last night. Grizzlies were outscored by 10 in the paint. The paint scoring last year was a real sore spot. I think that has to get better. But it's a process. I mean, and now, Dave, training camp was 3 practices long.
Right.
In Nashville, this is not. I was talking with some old timers. They're like, "Yeah, we go to training camp for 3 weeks," and you don't have that anymore. So it'll be a process. But look, you had 28 assists, you scored 126 points. It's not a bad first effort out of the gate.
No, I love it. It faltered off toward the end because I was monitoring this thing on my sports app on my phone, the score. And like, I don't know, the first 20 buckets that were made, like 18 of them were assisted. That sort of dropped off. But what I love about this system is not just that you will get more threes and more shots, because that's the whole theory behind it, but you also are constantly moving toward the hole. So you should get some easy buckets. Edey will really be the beneficiary, I think, on paper, of what they're trying to attempt.
Yeah, and they didn't have necessarily a commitment to just throw it into the post and go to work. What this is going to do is, look, last year, if you look at some of the advanced metrics, the Grizzlies had more contested shots than any other team in the league. So they didn't shoot a high percentage because all their shots were contested. All this ball movement and body movement, and you noticed it last night, that the threes were much less contested than they were a year ago. The quality of shot they got was much better than it was on the whole a year ago. And so you're going to have better looks. I think you're going to have higher paint scoring. And look, if you're shooting uncontested threes, it's a whole lot better than shooting a three with a guy has his hand in your face. So I think, this offense is going to result in a higher quality of shot, because last year just way too many shots were contested. And I don't care how good a shooter you are, when you got a hand in your face all the time, it wears on you.
All right, on to Houston, and here's the first time that Ja will face his old teammates, Dylan Brooks and Steven Adams.
I don't know if Adams is going to play. He was inactive last night as Houston lost at home to Charlotte. Dylan did not have himself a good game. He was 1 of 6 for 2 points. Didn't have a steal, didn't have an assist, and was 0 of 3 from 3. So we'll see how that plays out. I think Houston's going to play desperate. I mean, they blew an 18-point lead last night to a Charlotte team that a lot of people are overlooking, except for the fact that LaMelo Ball went off last night. Wow. So it's a division game. It's a building where the Grizzlies haven't had a tremendous amount of success. So, and Houston's going to be desperate to not start a season 0-2 on their home floor. So I think it's going to be a highly competitive game. Ime Udoka is a very good defensive coach, and so how will he be able to slow down the Grizzlies the way Utah did in the second half last night? That's going to tell the tale of how that game turns out, I think.
I can only hope that I can watch it and listen to your beautiful tones with Brevin and Rob.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Pete, thanks for getting up early in Utah for us. We appreciate it. Safe travels. We'll talk next Thursday.
Sounds good.
That is our voice. That's Pete Pranica coming to you from Utah after the Grizzlies win their opener on the road over the Jazz, 126-124. Great week coming. Lots of speculation. I love the expanded playoffs and how every game becomes so meaningful. We'll talk about that, a little bit of last week and those great games. Our SEC historian, Ron Higgins, comes your way in just a couple minutes.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Wash your house, wash your office building? Impossible! Not call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces: concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl final signing. Then Wilson's conceal their services so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 1-524-6799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Don't do it.
Don't do what?
Don't do another Halloween spot for Central Barbecue.
But it's October. Doing a Halloween spot for Central Barbecue is a tradition.
But it doesn't make it a good thing.
Nothing else happens in October.
Baseball?
Not if you're a Cardinals fan. What else you got?
National Candy Corn Day.
No Central Barbecue connection.
Fair point. How about Make a Difference Day?
That's to encourage people to do something constructive for the world.
And going to Central Barbecue isn't?
I'm telling you, it's got to be Halloween.
There's no other choice, I guess.
Hey, Zeke.
Yeah.
This year, give the kiddies ribs on Halloween. They love that.
Seriously, next year, something new.
I'm telling you right now, Mid-South, if you're looking for a new ride, give Bobby J a call today at Gossett Kia on the Pike. He's the man with the plan. 41 MPG, Bobby's got it in new 2024 Kia Forte LXS. $233.86 a month, $34.99 to its signing. 2025 Kia Sportage, $269 a month, $34.99 to its signing. And get holiday ready in 2024 Kia. Tell your ride S. $408.62 a month, $39.99 to its signing, all 24-month lease. Plus, you always get peace of mind with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Call Bobby J. He's ready to put you in your new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Monthly 650 acquisition fee, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte RE 834,938, MSRP 22,615, Telluride RG 56,3000, MSRP 40,805, Sportage S73 40278, MSRP 29,135, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/31/2024 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
All we hear is Radio Gaga, Radio Googie.
We are sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. So glad to have Family Leisure as one of our sponsors for so many years. We appreciate them, and Lindsay and Billy and all the sales they have all the time. They got right now the world's biggest spa sale going on with a fall event where you can get great prices on so many things, but in particular the spas that began at $28.99, and we're talking about state-of-the-art stuff. Now the newest, the cold plunges that you can do, they're under $4,000. The swim spas start at $17,499. There's special financing available, big discounts on all in-stock above-ground pools. They got to go because it's coming on winter, and all the patio furniture is priced to move. Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road. Good people, great store. Go see it and tell them we sent you. We head down. I'm going to ask you, since my computer's on drop, I don't want to lose my man, Ron Higgins. We go to Baton Rouge, our SEC historian. Let's start with some great games last week that we never got a chance to talk about. I was shocked at Georgia's domination of Texas. I thought Texas would win that game. And then Alabama and Tennessee, a lot of penalties in that game, both sides, but the freshman quarterback came through in the second half after a terrible first half. They ran the ball because, that's the thing about Heupel is he's so good at spreading you out and then running the ball. My goodness, it was a Tennessee win that I think gets them in the playoff. We'll talk more about that. Good morning. Your thoughts on those games?
Well, Georgia, I thought Georgia would win that game. This on the basis. Kirby's teams remind me a lot of Saban's teams. When they lose a game, everybody would write them off, and they usually play really well after they're written off. Kirby's won like 58 of the last 59 games. I mean, they're not going to fold up the rest of the year. And I thought Texas was susceptible because, Ewers was just coming back from an injury. Kind of shaky. And I thought, this was a good spot. In Georgia, I knew it would kind of blow up on the road too. So I didn't think it would they would dominate the first half so easily. but I thought Georgia would win, so that worked out. The Tennessee game, it's good to have Dylan Sampson on your team. I mean, it really, when you have a really good run game, it helps your freshman quarterback. And I thought that really was a huge help to Nico that game. Kind of gave him a little bit of a security blanket. It's nice to have to be able to rely on that. I mean, and look, the kid's still learning. I know people think he's the savior, and I get all that, but freshman quarterbacks in this league, there's a learning curve. Really, probably their first year or 2 years, unless your first year, you don't step right in. Even in history, the best freshman quarterbacks in history in this league have struggled. Tim Couch at Kentucky way back in the day. Eric Zier, Georgia, another guy way back in the day, freshman quarterback right off the bat. People expect to be great, and he struggled. You struggle in this league, and even more so now when the talent level is even greater around the league. So I think Nico's going to be fine. He is what he is.
All right, since you bring up the past and you brought up those other quarterbacks that struggled as freshmen, let's talk about two at Tennessee and maybe two at LSU, and Daniels and Burrow. Manning, T. Martin, is Ia Amaleva, is he as good as those guys, do you think, in the long run? Because let's face it, he's the first guy of all those guys that could really cash in and make a lot of money. Well, maybe Daniels could.
Yeah.
Because I think there's added pressure to that. When you come in and people speculate that he got an $8 million guaranteed deal broken up over years by as long as he would stay, but that the ceiling was $8 million, I mean, that comes with a whole different set of pressure.
Yeah. I don't mean this in a bad way, but he's going to have to get a lot more intelligent football-wise and reading defenses to get on Joe Burrow's level. And Daniels, for that matter. Daniels, his last year, improved immensely. All he did was get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go to the film room every day. Burrow is the smartest quarterback LSU's ever had, probably one of the smartest ever in the league. But that came from working with his receivers so much that people couldn't understand why LSU put Bob Burrow threw 60 touchdown passes his last year. It's because his receivers and Burrow had the ability to change the play while the play was being run. Like Burrow knew when a receiver would break off a route where he would go to, and the receiver knew the ball would be there, so they were possible to stop. If Nico gets to that level, good luck to him. And it's a matter of having receivers too who are that smart who can do that. But I think the kid's a talent. There's no doubt about it. And people just got to exhale, give him a little time to grow. I know they were so desperate for him to be a savior, but I like the way Heupel's doing it. He's protecting them with his running game. He's got a really good running game, and they got a good defense. So when your quarterback is kind of immature and not quite there yet, you try to protect him with defense and a running game, and that's what Tennessee does.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the playoffs and how many each conference might get. I know I've heard, because this is SEC country and you're proud of your product, that people think, well, 5 SEC teams are going to get in. I'm looking at records and math, and there's no way that's going to happen. They may get 4. I think, personally, either the Big Ten or the SEC will get 4. One of them will. The other will not. And it's just strictly because I think that the ACC and the Big 12 are each going to get 2 teams in. Look at the Big 12 right now. Iowa State, BYU, they're both 7-0, and Kansas State is 6-1. There's 3 teams. Now, I haven't looked at all their schedules. Obviously, in the championship game, one of them's got to play each other, so somebody's going to have a loss. I don't know if everybody's going to run the table, but there's probably going to be 2 teams with 1 loss that are going to be worthy of playing, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, Clemson's 6-1, and then they played really well since early. So that's an ACC team there.
Right. Well, listen. Okay, so let's go over the ACC teams because that's even clearer that they're going to get 2 because you've got Miami, Pittsburgh, 7-0, 6-0 respectively. Clemson, SMU, Syracuse, Duke, all 1 losses. Syracuse has 5 wins. The other 3 have 6. There's going to be 2 teams probably with 1 to 2 losses. They're going to be worthy of getting in. Do the math on all the SEC teams, and there's going to be at least 1 team with 2 losses, and probably more. I don't see them getting more than 4 at the most, depending on how the Big Ten works out.
They won't get more than 4. They won't get more than 4. That's what makes.
They may only get 3. That's my point.
That's what makes this football season one of the best I've ever seen. I mean, here we are. We're at this past midway point in the year, and there's so many one-loss teams. Teams with 0s and 1 loss. I mean, the way it's been spread out is unbelievable. And teams, teams that you didn't anticipate being there. Indiana.
Right.
Signetti probably is the national coach of the year. Teams just don't expect to be there. But that's what makes the season so fun and so great.
Right. Well, if you look at the Big Ten, and they're going to make a point to try to get 4 teams in, and if you do the math because of the group of 5. Only one of those schools, one of those leagues, SEC or Big Ten, is going to get 4, unless there's so much bias and they're so scared of those 2 behemoths that they allow more and they take away from the ACC or the Big 12. But listen to me: Indiana 7-0, Oregon is 7-0, Penn State 6-0, Illinois is 6-1, Ohio State is 5-1. Come on, they're going to get 3. And they might be the team, the league that says we should get 4. There's not an undefeated team in the SEC, and the 2 teams that are undefeated in league play, A&M and LSU, as you well know, play this week. One of them is going to have a league loss after this week.
Yeah, and both of them already have 1 loss. They both lost their openers, so this will be a second loss for somebody this week.
Right.
And so, it's just been fun. I mean, even though I'm not a huge fan of NIL because I just think you can just go buy anybody you want now, it's made for parity. I mean, it's really kind of even things out a lot, which is good. You hope you don't see the same old teams in the playoffs at the end. It's kind of like the NCAA basketball tournament, the Final Four. I mean, you go through, the first week of the tournament, it's like, the Cinderellas. Oh, great, man, this is unpredictable. By the time you get to the regional finals, it's not so unpredictable, really. Same old. It's kind of been that way with these playoffs almost every year. The same old. So, with 12 teams, you're hoping you can sneak some people in there that really you haven't. Obviously, you haven't seen the playoffs a bunch. That's what I guess that's the draw to me of the playoff is to get some fresh people in there, some fresh teams, and see how they fare and give them a chance.
2 intriguing games to me this week with ramifications. Ole Miss, if they want to stay in a playoff picture. And they could still make their case. They have to beat Oklahoma. They're 20-point favorites to win that game, which is mind-boggling to me. But I kind of, and Bryant and I are going to make our picks tomorrow, but I kind of lean in the direction of the Rebels because I think Lane Kiffin knows he's got to win and win big, and Oklahoma certainly seems to be struggling. And then there's Auburn and Kentucky. So Auburn is 2-5. This is like a bowl elimination game. And the reason I say that is Auburn is 2-5. They've got this Kentucky game. Then they play Vandy, Louisiana, Monroe. Now those, the Vandy game's a toss-up. Louisiana, Monroe. Then they got to play A&M and Alabama. So if they don't win this game, because they got to win basically 4 of the 5 games left, If they don't win this game, they're in trouble. And sort of the same thing for Kentucky because of their schedule. They're 3-4, but after this game at Tennessee, they're going to get a win at Murray State, at Texas, and then Louisville, which we know is a good team. I mean, they're not shoo-ins to make a playoff. They both really need, or to make a bowl. They both need W's to get into a bowl.
Yeah, I agree. UL Monroe's no gimme. They've been actually pretty decent this year. So I'm looking at the schedule. I mean, you got Vandy, and of course we know what Vandy's on a mission. I don't think Auburn's going to get to a bowl. I think they're going to make it. I mean, they got A&M and Alabama to finish the year.
Right.
That's not a good formula. A&M's in Auburn.
And the Vandy game could be competitive. And Vandy's got 2 shots. The Auburn game, but that is at Auburn, I think, and then at they're home against South Carolina. Although South Carolina looked awfully good against Auburn this past week. Or they looked really good this week. I'm trying to remember who the heck they beat. But
they beat
Oklahoma. Yeah. They punished Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
I want Vandy to win. I want them to come to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, but they got to win one of those 2.
Oh, they're going to win. They'll win. I mean, I think. Look, I mean, when's the last time Vandy's had won like 3 in a row? They're on a 3-game win streak.
I don't know.
They got Texas this week. Now, I don't think
it's coming to an end this week.
Yeah, that's a stretch.
Yeah.
That's a stretch. But I think they can beat either Auburn or South Carolina. South Carolina's kind of schizophrenic a lot of times.
Yeah.
It's be tough to beat LSU and Baton Rouge and Tennessee to finish the year. But they can they'll be bowl eligible. They'll make it.
All right, Oklahoma, Ole Miss. What's going to happen there?
I think Ole Miss will destroy them.
I
think Ole Miss probably. They needed an open date week to get over the shock of losing LSU. I'm sure they were like in a funk for half the week, trying to how they lost to them, but they did.
All right, let's end this conversation with your prediction on your LSU Tigers and A&M.
Oh, A&M's got a great run game. LSU's defense has got to come along, commit a lot, but they've been forcing a lot of turnovers. I don't think A&M's played a quarterback and the receivers like they've seen with Nussmeier and LSU's receivers. I'm going to take A&M's favored by 2.5. I'm going to take LSU by about 3 or 4 probably.
I think that's right. Nussmeier is really one of the nice surprises, I think, in the SEC this year. As always, my friend, I appreciate it. Thank you much. We'll talk again next Thursday.
All right, well, I will see you.
That is our SEC historian. That is Ron Higgins. We take a break. We head downtown. Our Hall of Famer is standing by. We'll talk a little Grizz. We'll talk a little Tiger football against Charlotte. Jarvis Greer is right around the corner.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
It's here, Genesis Diamonds, the largest ever sale in luxury you can't miss this special 2-day event this Friday and Saturday. During this event, you can take advantage of special pricing, see the largest finance and the stunning selection of luxury brands, hundreds plus Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsi, hottest model Rolex watches that you can't find anywhere else. Luxury premium Rolexes are in pristine, like new condition, some just out of the box, and all priced to sell at this event. Purchase a luxury premium Rolex with Genesis Extended.
Ken Garland, you are in your 72nd year of business. Your son William is now joining you. What do you think is the key to your longevity in the building business?
My dad started the business in 1965, and I think being on the job sites daily and being accessible to homeowners has been a key to our success.
You guys have a work ethic, as you like to say. You're not hiring people to be on the site. You guys are there every day.
We interact with the subcontractors multiple times a day on each job site. I think that has been a key, as well as using the same subcontractors 20 plus years in most cases.
When you talk about materials, what is the first thing you're thinking about when somebody comes to you to build a home?
We're just trying to meet the expectations of the client and the homeowner and the architect and give them what their dream is.
When you get a Ken Garland home, what do you guarantee?
We'll be there after the job is finished. We're still accessible to all our clients.
Now I need to know, how do I get a hold of Ken Garland?
You can reach us at kengarland.com.
You're a contractor and you need concrete coating and supplies in Memphis fast, and you get this answer? I think we can order that stuff, but you're going to have to wait a few days for delivery. Why wait? Get your concrete coatings and supplies now at TSS Supply, where everything you need is in stock. If you're working in the tri-state Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi area, everything you need for concrete coating is at TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road, Memphis. TSS Supply specializes only in concrete coatings and supplies, all in one place. If you're looking for a particular item, need large quantities, or just have general questions, call 901-729-0565, 729-0565, or you can email your question to Brad at tsssupply.com. The friendly, knowledgeable folks at TSS Supply have over 150 years combined experience in concrete coatings, materials, and supplies. Contractors, are you in town for a job or getting ready to do a job for a customer during their holiday shutdown? Then you should visit TSS Supply for your concrete coatings and supplies. Why wait for materials when TSS Supply has everything you need in stock and they can get it to you today or within 24 hours? TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road.
If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games on all the big TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos. And enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $3.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Graham.
Let's fly downtown. Our Hall of Famer standing by, that is Jarvis Greer. You excited about last night's game? You excited about Saturday's early game at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium? Lots to talk about. Jarvo, good morning.
Hey, what's going on?
You are on your speakerphone, which sounds terrible, just to let you know.
Yeah, I know I got another call that's coming in. I got to end it.
Oh.
Let me see.
Okay. Obviously, a very seriously tech-challenged Jarvis Greer trying to figure this out. Now, we should give him a lesson, Bryant, on when he's expecting these things, how to block out other calls. Is that possible?
I don't know. It's a good question. I'd have to research
It is
that.
possible if you make the call.
Right.
Yeah. And so Jarvis, I guess, is finishing the phone call and will join us momentarily.
There he is.
Oh, yeah.
We're just hanging
out.
out.
Sorry about that. I had a call come in right when you clicked me on. I had another call come in, and it switched over to that call. So I had to click that one off and click back to this.
Ah, okay.
The joys of modern technology,
well,
like the Grizz game.
What we ought to do next time, because you're so busy, what we ought to do is have you, there's a way to stop all calls while you make a call, and then you could call us, and we'd never have this problem.
Yeah, that's true, but I do like to. I feel needed. I feel wanted when you call me.
Well,
technology, just like the people trying to watch the Grizz game. Goodness gracious.
My gosh, that was very frustrating for sure. And Xfinity Comcast has to figure that one out, because I think they've had problems all summer long with those two channels. Even Cardinal fans have complained. So I think, and it's hard to get to the bottom of it with Xfinity. It really is. Hate to say this. Yeah. I'm a longtime customer, starting with Time Warner. Yes, I am. And you can no longer talk to a person until you've gone through their app. They won't let you directly talk to a human being. It is the most frustrating experience that there is, dealing with those folks who I think are headquartered in Philadelphia. That's one. Two, their workers.
Well, I don't know. We have
are
DirecTV,
not
and
in this country. The last
we have
one
not had a problem with anything unless it's one of those dispute deals where everybody's cut out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like when the provider has a problem with CBS, or CBS has a problem with somebody.
Right.
So we've been pretty lucky in that regard.
Your
But
thoughts
I don't know.
on the
So,
Grizz?
are you still there?
Your thoughts on the Grizz win?
Ooh, those reasons. I'm having all kind of problems with technology, man. You still there, Dave?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay. Now it was picking up my ear pods, which are not even close to me. But okay, I'm gonna have to go outside, I guess, to get away from everything. Anyway, I can hear you now.
Okay,
and you can hear me.
So your thoughts on the Grizzlies' win last night on the road? Morant and Aldama saved the day. Not a good night for Edey. Not a good night for Brandon Clark. Not a good night for Marcus Smart. Bain had a bad first half, great second half. Tell me what your thoughts are.
W. You got to win on the road at a place where you haven't really had much success. So that's good. Marcus Smart, not worried about his numbers are basically the kind of numbers that he did when he was in Boston, but he makes winning plays. Edey, rookie. It's just like it was a deer in the headlight, because once it started rolling the wrong way for him, it went the wrong way the rest of the game, and that's kind of what happened in the preseason. You saw if he got off to a good start in the preseason game, he played well. If he got off to a bad start in the preseason game, he was just kind of a non-factor. So 1 of 82 for him. Not really worried about Brandon Clark. That was not the kind of game. You know, he's more the power forward, small forward type, and he's coming in trying to play center, and against a really big lineup. So that's not really him. And he's coming off injury, so not really worried about BC. I tell you who I did like was Jalen Well. I really liked him. And Bain, you don't have to worry about. He's a professional.
No, I'm not worried about Bain because he had a great second half.
Yeah.
I think he is of all-star caliber. The guy that I'm worried about, and I shouldn't say worried because he's really not as important as he might have been at one point, that's Marcus Smart, who in my estimation, and maybe it was the altitude and he's a little older, but Marcus Smart looks out of shape to me.
Yeah, so a couple of people have made that remark, but he looked that way a lot of last season. But he's one of those guys where he knows his body and he knows what he does. He's the oldest guy on the team now. Old, he's just 30. He knows what to do, and he's the kind of guy that you saw him when he was in college at Oklahoma State. They played the Tigers a couple of times. He is a competitor, and he makes the right play at the right time. You saw him, play, had some great defensive stops there toward the end of the game. He got that old man hook shot in the lane, not even jumping at the end. And he just knows how to make plays. So, and I don't think that, he's not going to be a guy that's scoring 20 points and getting you, 15 assists or something, anything like that. But if he's around, 10, 11 points, 3 or 4 assists, 4 or 5 rebounds, and playing defense, hey, that's what you want out of Marcus Smart.
They go to Houston. Not sure if Steven Adams is going to play, but
he didn't play
Dylan
last
Brooks will. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I don't. And it was an injury not related to the knee thing that he had in Memphis that kept him out for so long. So I don't know. If we'll see that matchup, the old versus the new, Steven Adams versus Zach Edey. But I think it'll be a better matchup for Edey going up against Sengun. Sengun's a really good player, but I don't know what's up with Steven. He did play in the preseason, so but he was brought in to be the backup center in Houston anyway. Dylan Brooks is the one who's going to have a chip on his shoulder against the Grizzlies.
Well, he will, and he didn't play very well last night, so they don't want to start. As Pete Pranica said earlier, they don't want to start off 0-2 with both losses at home to start off the year. That would not be a good thing, so they'll be desperate. Should be a great game. Hope I can watch it on my Comcast platform. All right, Tigers, Charlotte, homecoming, early game. That's the first of 2 in a row, because when the Tigers play San Antonio, they will play at 11 o'clock as well, Central Time, which, by the way, is perfect for them because, I think Ryan Silverfield did this in part because of early starts, but also because of schedules with classes and stuff. But the Tigers are a morning practice team, so it kind of fits right into the theme.
Oh, totally. They practice in the morning. They're used to getting up, getting hit, doing all those things, running and all that stuff. So it's perfect for Memphis. This Charlotte team, they're kind of 3-4 coming in, but they're 2-1 in the American, same record as Memphis. And they got a couple of guys on their team that really did damage to the Tigers last year in Charlotte. Remember, Charlotte Tigers had to come from behind twice, down 10 twice in that game in the fourth quarter to force overtime and then get the win. They got like a running back that had 187 yards. They got a tight end that had a bunch of yards against Memphis, but they got a whole bunch of new players. What, they got 71 new players?
71 new players. And listen, they've used 3 quarterbacks about equal. They've used 3 running backs about equal.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, okay, how do you get any consistency? And the 3 quarterbacks have started 2 games, 2, 2, and 2. That makes 6 games.
Right.
It's just how do you get consistency like that? But they're I don't know what to say about Charlotte. They run the ball, they can still run, but they lost to East Carolina. They got cremated by Navy, I think, and of course everybody's lost to Navy this year.
Yeah, they were down 38-0 at the half in that game. I mean,
Yeah,
I think Navy's got a chance to beat Notre Dame. I really do.
I do too. I'm in agreement with you on that. It's just that Charlotte, is one of those teams that you better come out ready to play, because they do have people that can play. And you were in a dogfight against them on the road last year. You had to have a great kickoff return by Sutton Smith there toward the end. I think on the drive for the tying touchdown to send it to overtime. So, and Sutton Smith's not playing for the Tigers for the rest of the year because of the ACL. But they are a team that you better be on your P's and Q's, because you don't want them to sneak up through the back door and beat you, because that could happen.
Yeah. All right, my friend. I look forward to seeing you in just a little bit as we get ready for coaches' meetings on this very topic. And we shall chat next Thursday. We'll talk about this game, the one with San Antonio, and we'll also talk a little bit about the Tigers who venture on Monday to Birmingham. And I think we'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow, Brian and myself. They're going to take on an Alabama team that some people have as high as number 2 in the country, and they supposedly have the fastest pace of any team in the country. That one should be a lot of fun. Thank you, Jarvo. We'll talk next week, and that will do it for us on this day. We will make our picks tomorrow. Andy Schiffman's going to have the day off. We'll have somebody on Tiger basketball and that game, and then we'll end our week with the roundtable. Should be a lot of fun. Thanks for listening. Johnny Radio's next. Have a great day, everybody.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals.